Well, how's everybody doing? Um, Thought I would just shoot another quick video with a little bit of a different topic. I mean, XRP, of course, everybody's getting plenty of news about that, where we're at. Of course, not a lot of price action or anything, but great stuff happening. Just apparently it's not this month, so we'll just keep holding and knowing that it's going to happen sooner or later. So in the meantime, I thought I would share. I've talked about how I want to try to help some of the younger members. It doesn't have to be younger, but anybody that might have an interest in real estate. That's what I've done all my life, is develop real estate. I've been a general contractor, had real estate license to sell my own stuff, and then of course have developed a lot of real estate. So I just thought I would give some information about developing in general. I had I think it was XRP Darren. I think there's a couple of those names out there, by the way, just with a different spelling. But anyway, he emailed me and wanted to know, did I think, it would be wise for him to get a real estate license? Well, it certainly can't hurt. But my response back to him was, I think what you should be working towards is developing real estate, and then hire a realtor if you feel you need one. I've got a couple of thoughts about that, and my apologies in advance to anybody that's already a realtor. Realtors perform a vital service, but quite honestly, a lot of times when I build something, I just put my own sign out in front of it, because I've bought and sold a lot of property, and I can represent my property better. I know my property. I'm more interested. I'm going to make sure every phone call gets a phone call back. And unfortunately, sometimes you'll call on a property and a realtor just doesn't respond. I don't know why. They don't pick up the phone, or they don't call you back, and they don't realize they might have just missed a sale. But as a real estate developer, you can put your own sign out front. And here's what I've noticed. People have a tendency to drive around the neighborhood they want to live in, and they're going to call whatever name and phone numbers on the sign. So why not just make it your sign? So I've never really felt like I've needed to have a real estate license, even though I did hold one at one point. But it was because we were building larger subdivisions and had a lot of houses to build. But for the most part, you don't. What I think is something that you'll find interesting if you've never really thought about it, I have to have a general contracting license, and I do have a general contracting license for both commercial and residential. And you have to have a license to sell real estate. But you know what you don't have to have a license for? To be a real estate developer. It's just, a guy putting a project together, finding the highest and best use for a piece of property, getting some plans drawn, knowing the process, getting the right zoning, getting, all of those elements in place, getting the funding, and, you hire a general contractor or you hire a real estate developer. But to develop real estate, you don't need any licenses at all. What you need is an understanding of how to do it. And for anybody that has an interest in that, that's again one of the things I want to try to help people have a better understanding of. And as people ask me questions, I'll be glad to do another little video explaining that. Well, what about zoning, or what about, what's a civil engineer, and all of those kind of things. But I think for the most part, you just have to have a little bit of an entrepreneurial spirit. You have to, have an idea of what you think your community that you live in, what they may need. If you're looking at commercial, is there too much retail space available? Is there not enough? and or residential. What would be a good project? I like smaller projects. I like 1 acre commercial projects. I like, you know, 4 or 5 real estate or residential lots all in a row. That way I can control the look with my style of building. And usually, you know, we put a lot of detail into the elevations and the curb appeal. And so when I build 4 or 5 in a row, people have a tendency, they want one of those because that's a cute row of houses. But you do have to have a little bit of an entrepreneurial spirit. And I thought one of the things for you younger people, if you haven't heard this before, you might try to grasp this concept, because I heard it 30 years ago and it has helped me. And what it is, it's the difference between a technician and an entrepreneur when it comes to opening businesses. You see, it doesn't really matter what business you're in. It's how you do business. And some of you, when your investment matures, you may be looking to, like I am, take the monies from, you know, an exchange, you know, getting them off the nano and putting them back on the exchange and selling them and putting it into real world properties or even businesses in your local towns. You know, there may be some people that have just always wanted to open a restaurant. And so now they finally have the money to open the restaurant that they've always wanted to, right there in their own little town. And they know the perfect little building. They know exactly what they want to do. They just never had an extra $100,000 to do it. And now maybe because of XRP or some of their other investments, they now will have that opportunity and they may want to do that. But I think there's some things you need to understand, because I've developed real estate but I've also developed an awful lot of and opened an awful lot of businesses, all kinds of businesses, from restaurants, car dealerships, all kinds of different things. And so what I was saying is that it really doesn't matter what business you're in. Once you understand how a business works, your product is different, but running the business is the same. So what I mean by that is, this goes back to this idea or the concept of a technician or an entrepreneur. And what I mean by that is that, you know, sometimes, you know, you've got a technician, a guy that works in an auto repair shop, and he's an excellent auto mechanic. And he has a tendency to think because he can repair cars that it automatically qualifies him to open up an auto repair shop. But opening an auto repair shop and running a business that repairs cars is completely different than repairing a car. So you have a technician who's trying to open a business, and to truly have a successful business, you need to be an entrepreneur. And the difference is, a technician goes to work in the business. An entrepreneur goes to work on the business. So to give you a kind of a great example of that, if you've ever watched Gas Monkey Garage on TV, you've got Richard Rawlings, who's just a character in himself. But the reality is, say what you will, but Richard is an entrepreneur. You never see Richard out in the shop turning wrenches. Richard is constantly promoting the business, advertising the business, trying to find ways to bring more business in, and he has technicians doing the work that his company does. And so Richard is the entrepreneur, and the guys in the shop are the technicians. And that's something that applies to almost every business. So here's the problem. Because a guy who repairs cars thinks that he's automatically qualified to open up a business that repairs cars, very quickly he finds out that this is the worst job he's ever had in his life, even though he's the owner. Because now not only is he repairing the cars, but now he's trying to run the company and the books and keep records and do everything that the front office has to do, plus all the stuff out in the shop. And very often he regrets ever even opening the shop. So, along with understanding the difference between a technician and an entrepreneur, and having those, that understanding, and making sure you determine which one you are, you don't have to be the entrepreneur. You can hire somebody that knows how to promote your business if that's what you want to do, if you just want to be in the back doing the work. But typically the entrepreneur wants to be the one running the company. Just understand how important it is to be the entrepreneur and promote the business and build the business, and have your technicians performing the work in a quality workmanship manner, with quality workmanship. But the other component to that would be, better make sure you really love it. If you're going to open a business and spend a bunch of money, it better be something that you really enjoy doing, or once again, that can become the worst job you ever had in your life. My wife has told me for 30 years that I don't go to work, that I love what I do, and she's right. I love to build. I love to see a vacant piece of land, stand back, imagine what could be, then draw some plans and buy the property and build something there that was never there before, and stand back at the end of the day and go, man, that looks cool. That looks really cool. And, then it stands there, for the next 100 years. And every time I drive by, I know I did that. And to me, that's rewarding. And I have a lot of creativity, that I need to put to work somewhere. And so building things allows me to pick shapes and colors, and kind of helps me satisfy those creative juices. So anyway, that's one of the things that I wanted to share with you guys. Again, it's not necessarily a crypto conversation, but it is something that in my mind is crypto related, because if you're in this thing, until this thing matures, you have to have a plan. Everybody can agree on different exit strategies and when they do and don't want to take profits. But when you take profits, you really need a plan as to where you're going to put them, because you know what they say, a goal without a plan is just a wish. So you need to have some goals and some plans to, what you're going to do with your new found profits, or you're going to lose them. You're going to lose them in a hurry if you don't have a specific plan and understand that. And since we're just waiting anyway, this is a perfect time to research what you want to do. If you want to build houses or flip houses or build a commercial project or open an auto repair shop or body shop or restaurant, start doing the homework now and find out what you need to do to make that happen and how much that's going to cost. And you can design your exit strategy or a portion of it around that. But I hope this helps, this information. I enjoy sharing it. I'm just trying to tell you things I've learned that I wish people would have told me 30 years ago. But if you have any comments, then you're welcome to DM me. I'll try to respond to them, and then or questions that I can do a video about that might help you understand that concept a little bit better if you think it's something that's in my wheelhouse. And if you don't mind, subscribe and hit the like button, and share it on Twitter, retweet it if you don't mind, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks, guys. Bye.